I grew up believing my family was normal. Not perfect, not happy all the time, just normal. I didn't realize how quiet our house actually was until I grew old enough to notice who was allowed to make noise and who wasn't. There were three of us: my older sister, my younger brother, and me, somewhere in between. My brother was special. Not because anyone said it out loud. No one ever used the words golden child. They didn't have to. It showed in smaller ways. In who got excused. In who got comforted. In who was believed. If my brother forgot his homework, it was because the teacher was unfair. If I forgot mine, it was because I was irresponsible. If my sister spoke back, she was going through a phase. If I did, I was ungrateful. At family gatherings, relatives asked about my brother first. How was school? How was sports? Was he still thinking about college? When the questions reached me, they were polite, brief, like something you ask so no one notices you didn't really care. I learned early how to shrink myself, how to speak less, how to need less, how to stop expecting praise because it never came anyway. My brother, on the other hand, never learned those lessons. He was praised constantly for things he hadn't done yet, for potential, for who he might become someday. He didn't have chores. If he did them, it was framed as generosity. If he didn't, someone else picked up the slack, usually me. When he failed, it was never his fault. Someone else interfered. Someone else distracted him. Someone else didn't support him enough. And slowly, without realizing it, he absorbed that belief that the world owed him softness, that effort was optional, that consequences were for other people. From the outside, it probably looked like he had the perfect childhood. Inside, something else was forming. By his late teens, he struggled with frustration. He couldn't handle criticism. Even gentle feedback felt like an attack. If someone corrected him, he shut down. If someone disagreed, he exploded. He had been protected from discomfort for so long that discomfort felt unbearable. Meanwhile, the rest of us learned survival. My sister left home early, not dramatically, not with yelling or slammed doors. She just stopped asking, stopped explaining, stopped hoping. She built a life far away and never looked back. I stayed longer, not because I wanted to, but because I believed if I stayed quiet enough, useful enough, easy enough, maybe one day I'd be seen. That day never came. Years passed. My brother dropped out of school, then tried something else, then quit that too. Each time there was a reason: stress, burnout, bad timing. My parents believed him every time. They rearranged their lives around him, paid his bills, handled his responsibilities, made excuses on his behalf. They called it love, but love without boundaries doesn't teach you how to stand. It teaches you how to lean. By the time he reached adulthood, he was angry. Not outwardly, not always, but beneath the surface there was bitterness. The world didn't match the story he'd been told about himself. People expected effort. Employers wanted consistency. Life demanded things no one had prepared him for. And instead of adapting, he blamed the system, the economy, other people, anyone but himself. I watched from a distance. I had built a quiet life. Nothing impressive, nothing flashy, but stable. I worked, I paid my bills, I learned things the hard way. No one applauded, but no one had to rescue me either. The moment that changed everything came at a family dinner. My brother was angry again. Another opportunity had fallen apart. Another plan hadn't worked, and suddenly he turned to me. He asked why I always seemed fine, why things worked out for me. I almost laughed. I almost cried. Instead, I said nothing. Because how do you explain that being ignored forced you to grow roots? That being overlooked taught you how to stand alone? That being the golden child isn't a gift, it's a delay. A delay in learning who you are without applause. A delay in facing failure before it's too late. A delay that sometimes costs people decades. I don't hate my brother. I understand him, but I also understand something else now. Favoritism doesn't create strength. It creates fragility wrapped in confidence. And silence, the kind no one notices, that's where resilience is born. Some children grow up learning they are special. Others grow up learning they must survive. Both leave marks, but only one teaches you how to live when no one is watching, and that lesson is never free. Sometimes being the golden child doesn't ruin your life all at once. Sometimes it ruins it quietly, not because you were hated, but because you were never asked to grow. And while one child was praised for everything, another child learned something different. They learned how to disappear. The next story is about the one who was never chosen, not the favorite, not the problem child, just the one who learned to survive without being seen. No one ever called me the golden child. That title belonged to my younger sister. She was the one everyone worried about, the sensitive one, the talented one, the one who just needed more time. I was the other one, the quiet one, the responsible one, the one who didn't need much. At least, that's what everyone told themselves. Growing up, my sister's mistakes were always treated like accidents. If she failed a class, it was because the teacher didn't understand her. If she quit an activity, it was because it wasn't right for her. If she lashed out, we were told that she was overwhelmed. When I struggled, I was told to figure it out. And I did. By the time I was 12, I was packing my own lunches. By 14, I was babysitting neighbors' kids for money. By 16, I had a part-time job and a savings account. No one told me to do those things. No one needed to. I learned early that stability wasn't something you were given. It was something you built quietly, so no one would worry about you. My sister didn't work. She talked about plans instead. Big ones, creative ones, ambitious ones that sounded impressive in theory. My parents listened closely to her dreams. They asked questions. They offered suggestions. They reassured her when she changed her mind. No one asked about mine. After high school, I moved out. Not dramatically, no fight, no announcement. I found a small apartment close to work and left. My parents were proud. They told people I was independent, that I had always been mature. What they didn't say was that I had learned not to rely on them. My sister stayed home. Then she left. Then she came back. Then she tried school. Then something else. Each time, my parents adjusted. They paid deposits, covered gaps, explained it away. "She's finding herself," they said. I nodded. I had stopped expecting fairness a long time ago. Years passed. I built a life that looked ordinary from the outside. A steady job, a small home, a routine. I paid my bills on time. I showed up. I didn't ask for help unless I absolutely had to. And because of that, no one ever worried about me. The moment everything shifted came unexpectedly. My parents had a financial scare. Nothing catastrophic, but enough to make them nervous. For the first time, they asked my sister what her plan was. Not gently, not vaguely. They asked for specifics. She didn't have any. That was when the frustration surfaced. Years of support unreturned. Years of patience unrewarded. They were angry, confused, and suddenly they were looking at me. "You turned out so well," my mother said one night. It wasn't a compliment, it was a comparison. And for the first time, I saw something change behind her eyes. They started asking me questions about money, about stability, about my future, questions they had never bothered to ask before. I realized then that I wasn't the success story they were proud of. I was the safety net they had never planned on needing. My sister struggled more as expectations finally touched her. Without constant cushioning, she felt exposed, resentful. She accused me of being favored now, of being the good one. I didn't argue. I knew better. The truth was uncomfortable for everyone. Being the golden child hadn't prepared her for adulthood. Being the overlooked one had prepared me for everything else. I still talk to my parents. We're polite, careful. There are things we don't say. They still worry about my sister more. They always will. But now they also know something they didn't before. The child they never worried about was the one who learned to survive alone. And the child they protected the most was the one least ready for the world. Sometimes favoritism doesn't ruin a family all at once. Sometimes it works quietly, for decades, until one day, everyone finally has to face what it created.